Hello, it's me, Rach Face, back again for My Life, My Way, My Face Buried in a Book. And I did a good thing. I picked up a physical paperback from my June TBR list and I actually finished reading it. So I started reading it about a week ago, read about a chapter of it, bookmarked it, carried it with me in my bag, but didn't read it. So I thought today, day off, rearranged the reading area, made myself a little cozy little nook area. Right, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna read. So I read for like the last 2 hours. I was reading It Ends With Us, Colleen Hoover. My first Colleen Hoover that I've picked up, but won't be my last, was probably a interesting one to decide to read first. I mean, I read the blurb, I was like, yep, this is great. I probably should have paid more attention to the first line of the blurb that reads, sometimes the one who loves you is the one who hurts you the most. Probably should have paid attention to the trigger warnings and realised that it wasn't just going to be a straightforward love story like I thought it was going to be. It is 18 plus. It does touch on abuse in relationships and the continuation of abuse in relationships. So it can be a little bit traumatic for some people. So I think pay very close attention to the trigger warnings before you dive in. I absolutely adore Colleen Hoover's writing. It was so well done. The characters are so well rounded and so thought out. Let's see. I love that Lily is so strong-willed, and I love that she sticks by her decisions in the end. I love that she makes those for herself and for what's best for her and her family. I think that's really strong and really powerful. Like, part 2 of the book is really a game changer. So I think first things first. So it starts off with, it is a love story developing relationship between Lily and Riley. Riley is an up-and-coming neurosurgeon. But it's also told with flashbacks of Lily's first love, Atlas, in the form of her journals and diaries and that were written in letter forms to Ellen while she was growing up. So it's really interesting to sort of see those two relationships, like her looking back on what her first love was as to what she's now in a relationship with and how they interact. And then watching as when reintroduce Atlas as a fully fledged grown-up character into her life where she is now in a relationship, it's really interesting to see how she handles and maneuvers the situation and what she decides to do with her life. It is really nice that Colleen's also made sure to add in some lighter characters in the sense of Alyssa and Marshall. Their relationship is just gorgeous. Like, it is filled with love and just honestly humor. Like, Marshall's character is just, oh my god, I really hope, because so it is set in Boston, and I really hope that it's a real thing, that there's a pub or a bar that gives out free beers if you go and watch the football match in a onesie. Because if that's the case, I want to go to that bar and I want to watch a football match in a onesie just to get free beer. I don't drink free beer, but I want to see people in onesies drinking. I think that would be hilarious. So I do love that aspect of the book and what happens there. It is very much as much as she allows you to see the relationship and the world from numerous perspectives. So you're not only getting Lily's view, you do sort of get an insight into Riley and into what has made him the way he is. And you also get an insight into his family and his relationship with his sister, Alyssa. So how everything sort of fits together. But it is really nice to see that Lily and Alyssa have a friendship that exceeds and goes beyond Lily being involved with Alyssa's brother. They are friends outside of that, and they are sisters outside of that. Like, they develop a very close bond, and it's so nice to see that even with everything that happens, Lily is still supported and she is still family. So I really do love that. The ending was not what I expected. For some reason, I thought the It Ends With Us was like a preemptive, like, yay, happy ending. Well, yes, okay, there is a happy ending. It is not the ending I saw coming, but it really is the ending that the book needed, and it really is the ending that those characters deserved. So I think that was lovely, like complete shock, but it was the ending that was needed. I think if it had have ended any other way, we probably would have felt a little bit betrayed and a little bit deceived. Like, she's made these characters, so she made Lily herself so strong, and everything that she had been through growing up, it couldn't have gone a different way. You needed her to make that decision at the end, and it was needed. Like, this one is so hard not to give away spoilers with, but yes, like, to see how much such a strong character tried to justify what was happening to her because of the love she had for Riley. Like, you can see she tried so hard, and in the end, he did, and it was her needing to put it in a different way for a different response to happen was so amazing. And I don't know, this is just, it's epic. It's one that, it's a mind messer, because I was like, I know what's going to happen, and then everything started to change, and I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't know what to do with this anymore. And then when it finished, I just sort of sat here and went, and that's been me for like the past 10 minutes or so. But I will say this is the first time I've ever tabbed a book. I tabbed it yellow because this one little line in here made me laugh out loud. Now, this is the cover. This is where I tabbed. This is when I realised that the book was changing directions and I wasn't really going to be laughing anymore. So it feels a little like a betrayal to myself to have one yellow tab here that's like, oh my God, I laughed out loud, and then be like, oh my God, why did I laugh out loud in this book? But that's just it. It was so well written that there was humour in the sadness. There was relatability in the characters. There was, you can see in at least one or two of her characters, you can see similarities or traits that you have. Like, she made them so realistic, like, oh my God, I've done that before. Oh my God, I've seen somebody do that. Or, oh my God, that reminds me of. Like, I loved when authors are able to write characters that are so realistic and so grounded that you know that person, or you know somebody who's very similar to that person. In this situation, yeah, you can, it's horrible when you can see similarities in a book like this, because especially to Riley, if you can see similarities to a character like that, which there are people I know who have aspects of that, which it's like, okay, like, yes, they have the nice aspects, but it's like, we don't always see what's under everyone's surface, so it's like, you don't know what's coming. And I think that's why, like, you can't judge books by its character. You don't know what somebody else is going through. You don't know the ins and outs of somebody else's relationship. So until you're the person that they're confiding in, or that they're sharing their truth with, sometimes you have to just sort of have the best of intentions and be there as a constant form of support. And that was what was, like, her mum, Jenny Bloom, in this, even with all that she'd been through, the way that her story wrapped up and her relationship with her daughter wraps up is so gorgeous. And I love the idea that it ends with, like, a mother and a daughter realizing that they are strong enough and that they are these fully capable women that are just wonderful and they deserve happiness in their lives. And I really love that. So yeah, I highly recommend it. I do recommend that you probably focus on the trigger warnings and figure out whether it's going to be a book for you. Pick the time when you read it, because it's not one to read if you are going through some things emotionally, because it will just add to it. It's one of those ones where I know for myself, I get into dark moods and dark days. I could not read this on a dark day. I would sit in a ball and cry. Like, I'm almost crying thinking about this book now, and I'm in a great mood. I'm in a very numb mood now, because that's what happens when you read a book like this. It affects you and changes you and has an impact on you. As great as it is, like, pick your times to read it. Don't read it just because everybody else is reading it, and don't read it if you feel pressured. Read it because you want to, and read it because you need to, because I honestly think it has a message for everybody, and everybody's going to get a different message out of it. But it is worth a read. It is one that I would probably consider lending to friends just so that they could read it. But I would also want to do a mental health check on them before I gave it to them. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought if you have read it. Let me know in the comments below. Which of the Colleen Hoover books would you recommend to read next? Because I do love her writing and I think it was amazing. So let me know. And I will see you all later. I'm going to find a lighter book to read next. All right, bye.